quiet, baby. That one feels good. And boy, oh boy, we have got a panel for you. Hope you've got your coolers stocked full of beer. The popcorn's ready to go because we are going to get into it.
West Cork Beard Company make beard oil and beard balm for a strong, healthy, great-looking beard. Handmade from all natural ingredients in Clonakilty, West Cork. Check out their YouTube channel for beard care tips and advice, or catch them online at westcorkbeardcompany.ie.
How's it? Welcome everybody to the crossover event of the season. I'm your host, the Bearded Gooner. Beside me, joining us live tonight, we actually have a face for Don't Waste the Tweet. Gary is with
Hello,
me.
everyone.
My friend, thanks for being on here, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
About time we get you in here, doing all that, doing all the hard work over there in the chat box usually. So, beside him is Ryan, who is actually on a bit of vacay right now with the missus, but she's already sick of him, so she's banished him into a corner and. So he's like, yeah, well, I guess I could come on now because she wants nothing to do with me. So how's the cabin in the woods, man?
Can't blame her. It's great. Fun time. This isn't my beer of the week, but I do want to give a shout out to Gary because he's on the show. But he's my working class hero. So I'll probably be looking at some point in the show. So he's doing the Lord's work, monitoring the chat, and now he's live in the flesh. And yes, he's real. So
yes, he is.
Hello, everyone.
It's not just a bot. So
yeah, so good to be here, and that's it.
Below Ryan there is the man who talks so much he will probably give the eulogy at his own funeral. Mike from the Gooners Pod. Thanks for coming on, man.
I've already written it because it's going to be next week probably. But
you gotta last till the end of the year, man. You gotta last till the end of the year.
Yeah, well,
don't be such a pessimist.
At least the end of the month. I got to see us get back into the top half of the table before I die. So
there you go.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Of course, man. Of course, it's our pleasure. And beside him, last but certainly not least, the only one that's going to bring any credibility to this show, the debacle that's going to be the four of us, and then the one, the only, Sophie Nicolau from the Hivory Squad. Sophie, thank you so much for being here. It is an honor, a pleasure.
Whoa!
I love it.
Super Soph.
Super Soph.
By the way, Sophie, not to already take this off the rail, but Sophie, you're very into the Hollywood scene. You have experience in movies and such. Mm-hmm. When you are on a TV studio and the show is starting, they're so pro at it that the guests and the hosts, they get into their seat 3 minutes into the show while all the opening commercials and promo are showing, right?
Correct.
I mean, we were all sitting here through 5 minutes of that original promotion, but aren't you supposed to slide right in there before the red light?
Well, I thought I did. I slid in right, with 2 minutes to go. So
I know, but then there's 5 minutes of lead up once the show gets started. So it's
this
crazy.
Manscaped thing. The first time I heard about it, I was like, I didn't realize what it was for, to be honest, because I'm like, trimming. But I actually have a subscription to the Dollar Shave Club. A chick who has a subscription to the Dollar Shave Club because I like their shaving cream and also their wipes.
And now you've gone and given a plug to the two competitors of their actual sponsor.
Yeah. Plug my sponsors. I do that instead.
You know what? I just realized something, Soph, when you said that. I don't think, because we used to have Manscaped as a partner here. I have not mentioned them in 2 months.
Do you know
you played them at the beginning of the show?
No, that's the West Cork Beard Company. They're Ireland, yeah. The Manscaped thing. I remember we had them as a sponsor. Well, Craig had them as a sponsor on the show across the pond, and I was supposed to live advert for them.
You all have these beard sponsors. You got the game thing with the tickets. We had a sponsor in season 2 of our podcast. We haven't had a sponsor since. And that sponsor was bagofdicks.com. And I'm not even kidding you. I'm not even kidding you. It's a website. They make a product and they sponsored us. We got 5 or 6 people got free bags for for winning contests with us. And
Wow.
that was
Clearly, so it's just him. He doesn't need the booze. This is just him. This is just Mike.
No, no. He hasn't. He spat all his booze out on last night's show, didn't he?
Yeah, that might have been the moment of my 5-year podcasting career. That God. Don't cough when you're taking a sip. Don't ever do that.
I will. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that most of everybody that's in the chat, and thank you all very much for being here with us tonight. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to giving you some entertainment, if you will. But I don't think they're here to listen to us talk about beards and manscaping and spitting things out. And so let's get into it. Gary, I'm going to start with you. Game over the weekend, Leicester on the road, 3-1 win. Real quick, and we'll go rapid fire around the horn here, but give me just a real quick take on what was your initial thought with the lineup, that when you first saw the lineup from Arteta, what was your initial take? And we'll just kind of go around the horn with this because I'm curious to get everybody's thoughts before the match kicked off, just the lineup.
Yeah, for some reason I got up at like 5:45, and I was like, you know what? I'm up. I'm not going to go back to sleep. So let me just check out the Bearded Gooner show to see what they're talking about. So I watched you guys for a little bit, and then, the lineup came up. And I think just before the lineup came out, somebody mentioned Willian and El Neni, and the next thing you know, guess what? Yes, they are starting. And I thought, oh, okay, so I guess we're not going to try to put the foot forward and maybe get something out of this game. So it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a defensive struggle. That's what I figured. I was like, okay, this isn't going to, it's not going to be fun. It's early, it's first day of first game of the morning. It's going to be a struggle. I'm going to not enjoy football for the rest of the day and not watch any. So that's my first thought when I saw the lineup and thought about how the game might go, because I'm going by what I saw in the last Premier League game, and I didn't like that at all. So I figured, doesn't look like he changed anything up to make it look like we're going to get anything out of this game. So, I was a little concerned that it's not going to be fun.
Yeah. Ryan, quick thoughts on the lineup.
So I was actually at work when I saw the lineup. I literally looked at it and I go, oh, looks like Arteta and the boys called in sick today, huh? I guess they too busy partying after our narrow victory on Thursday. I was like, all right. I mean, I was a little nervous. I was like, okay, like because in my opinion, I think if we put our strong lineup out, I was like, oh, we could beat Leicester. Like they're a team that I think we could get at if we, you know how they play. Vardy's going to score against us. So other than that, I think we could keep up with them. We could do our thing. So I was nervous. I was like, oh, okay, like I guess I'm gonna have faith in Arteta and hope he has an alternative plan. But this doesn't look good, and I think this thing could go one of two ways, and the rest is we'll talk about what's after that.
Yeah, Mike, I'm skipping you. So if I'm coming to you next,
I played the skip card.
Am I already in timeout?
Wow.
What are we playing?
I didn't even say anything yet, Mike.
Yeah. Just quiet time. That's all. Just quiet time for right now. No timeouts yet. Go ahead, so.
Well, I tweeted actually before the game started that everyone calm down. We haven't even played the game yet, and everyone was killing the team. I think this is kind of the Arsenal universe that we live in now. The team sheet comes out and everyone absolutely slates the manager for who he picks and slates the players before they've even kicked the ball. And so my point was before the game is let's just take a deep breath. And if it's gobshite at the end of the game, then yes, we can have our say. And I think a lot of people had egg on their faces because of what they said and did. Now, did I have egg on my face halfway through the game when we went 1-0 down? Absolutely, because I didn't slate the team, but what I said is this Leicester team actually afraid of this particular Arsenal team? And I didn't think they were at the beginning of the game. And I didn't think that they actually showed us enough respect. And I actually think Leicester City came into this match thinking that they were just going to roll over us because they were waiting for us to capitalize. They were waiting for us to make mistakes that they could capitalize on. And we made the mistake at the beginning, which Tielemans absolutely, was he wasn't even approached. We were backing off. We continued to back off. It felt like the Arsenal defense were going to end up back in London because they backed off so much. So that's why I made that comment, because at that point it felt like, wow, these guys aren't even afraid of us. They're not even showing us any respect. And we punished them for that. You know, we absolutely punished a team that has been lauded all season. Brendan Rodgers has been lauded. Jamie Vardy has been lauded for many years in the Premier League. He's scored an abundance of goals, and we had him in our back pocket. So at the end of the day, it's night. And the truth is, you know, we ended up winning a game that nobody gave us a real chance in. So Arteta, credit to him, and I've been very critical. He made 6 changes. We never had Aubameyang, Saka, Partey, or Gabriel. And they want to bitch about they had so many injuries. Well, we were lacking our first team players too, and our front line hadn't played together in a long time. So for me, this is the best win of the entire season. It was brilliant. It was flawless. And despite that one mistake, we took it to Leicester and we embarrassed them in their own backyard.
It's funny that you say this is the best win of the season, because I actually had that down the road a little bit, and we'll get into that more. I was adding things to the topic list, and that's one that just kind of popped into my head not long ago. But we'll get into that a little later. Mike, to Sophie's point about we just were absolutely abusing Arteta before we even kicked the ball on Sunday, and you were with me at the tailgate. We just we all did. It just abused.
I wish I saw that.
It was, and Sophie's absolutely right. I mean, everybody on social media just like, what on earth is he doing? And you know, you and I and Gary and Sam, we tore him apart for the lineup, didn't we?
And it's funny too. Like, sorry to cut you off, but I was actually surprising. It's going to happen a lot, but I'm going to say right now. I said about the lineup, I was actually surprisingly calm. Like, I was like, okay, like Arteta called in sick, like it's fine. But I'm like, you know what? I think something's going on. I think he's got a plan. I think we talk about how his player management's not the best, but his structure, he's very structured. He's very intelligent. He's with his tactics and his formations. So when I saw the lineup, I'm like, okay, he has a plan. You know, with this 11 that we saw, like he has something up his sleeve. And I was low-key excited. I was like, I'm curious to see how we get on, and we'll go into the game after, because I obviously got to talk about my beer of the week, and I'll let Mike talk. But yeah, that's the one thing I will think. Like I wasn't excited about the 11, but I was very I was calm, which is weird because, like Sophie said, everyone was like freaking out over Twitter and talking crap. And I was like, I don't know. Let's wait to see what's going on.
Ryan Stradamus is in the house.
Ryan Stradamus.
He is apparently the only one that knew that was our best starting 11. I was in your.
Maybe.
I was in the chat of your.
It would be Ryan Darmus, actually, not
Ryan.
You can just do Ryan Darmus. There you go, Mike.
That does.
You're just getting bad. Like, okay, ding ding, go on. You go, Mike.
So Tanner, what do you think?
I was champing or chomping at the bit. Which is it?
Chomping. Yeah.
I was chomping at the bit in the chat of your kickoff show, Tanner, which was a great kickoff show starting at 5:30 local time.
Sophie, I hope you just stayed up for that, by the way. Just like start the night before, just drink all the way through, because the game started.
I kind of did. I slept from 8 to 12:30. I woke up at 12:30, could not get back to sleep. 5:30 rolls around. I watched Hamilton for the 97th time in the middle of the night, and then for the and then I was bright and ready for 5:30. I was up raring to go, and you had a good. I was available at 4:45 when you sent me your text. Fuck my life. Because you had just woken up from a 2-hour nap.
barely 2 hours. But the lineup. I mean, my reaction. I did a reaction video, which was basically just me sitting like this for half an hour, and William, the son of a bitch, cost me £100. Cost me like $120 because I was so confident that I was so wanting to reverse jinx his ass and the whole team that I tweeted out that if Willian got a goal or an assist on the board and we won, and obviously the obligatory, you got to retweet this tweet before it happens. You're entered into a drawing for a free Willian shirt, and
People thought I was kidding. I thought I was kidding. But, 4 hours later, there's an Arsenal direct order on its way to Ohio for the lucky winner. So you know what?
Mike, I live in Connecticut.
If I could do it, you've got to play to win, Ryan. If I could do that every game that we're not expected to win, then I'll do it because I'm proper Arsenal. I'll pay for wins. I'll do it. But yeah, I didn't think it was great. The first, from the moment the lineup came out for 67 and a half minutes, there was every reason, I guess, feel negative. But I would rather be wrong about being negative 100 times than be proven right about my negativity once.
Exactly, Mike. Well said.
And so, the ranting and raving about the lineup, it's all kind of tongue in cheek because it's just sitting there ready to prove you wrong. And why you would go out on a limb if you were truly like bent out of shape about it and start acting like what's going to happen in the game. You've got to kind of have a sense of humor about it. And I knew Willian was going to start the game based on Arteta's comments after his cameo in Europe. I was like, he's starting. He's going to start, especially if Saka gets the rest. It's going to be him. It's not going to be Reece Nelson. It's not going to be Martinelli, which is a whole other topic. But I was like, Willian's in that 11, so we better just brace for it now. And holy cow, is he back or was that a one-off?
You talk about being wrong about stuff. I have a humble pie that I'm going to have to eat with whipped cream and ice cream at the end of the season if this team kind of pulls it off and wins the Europa League or gets into a Champions League spot.
And apparently now want that so bad.
It's not even about eating the humble pie. Apparently it's going to get thrown in my face now. It's moved to a totally different level. And I agree with Mike. Sorry to jump in there. I'm just going to call you Bearded BG. Because
that's perfect.
Okay, cool. Because
he's staying alive.
Yeah, he is staying alive.
By the way, that's not their best song. By the way, not their best song.
I don't think they have any good songs, so that's just
Nights on Broadway, man. Nights on Broadway. Come on.
That documentary on HBO is really sad, by the way. If you haven't seen it, it's very sad. The
HBO.
What do you Americans say? HBO. But the truth is that I don't know if you guys agree. You can criticize the manager and not want him sacked. We've had a lot of ups and downs this season, and every fan has every right to criticize his choices and the team performances. Doesn't mean you want him sacked. And at the end of the day, you have to, I put my hands up. I had Pepe on the Mount Rushmore of worst Arsenal signings of all time. I've eaten humble pie in the last 5 or 6 games because he's been great. And I want to do the same with Arteta at the end of the season. I'm more than willing to have that humble pie thrown in my face. Yeah, the team comes first, always.
The things we do for our club, anything short of me getting naked on camera is on the table.
Don't threaten that shit.
I said anything short of that.
Whoa.
That's like if we win the treble. If we win the
treble. Which treble is that? Which treble is that exactly?
Exactly. I've got it all worked out. So,
Mike, it's going to take us winning.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
It's going to take us winning the quintuple for anyone to want to see you get undressed on camera.
Quintuple's one for every 100 pounds that I weigh.
Listen, if you can't make fun of yourself, who can you make fun of, right? What are you drinking? Corona?
Yeah. This is the 1-year anniversary of when I went to London last, met up with Sophie, and then 4 days later had to flee home because of Corona. So in honor of that.
We were at the West Ham game together. That was the last game at the Emirates before everything got shut down. And that
I wouldn't mind if that's the last game ever because my memory of being there with you, Soph,
that was great.
Be everlasting. Me, and Mesut Ozil's last contribution to Arsenal.
I know, right?
Sophie, real quick, where are you? Where exactly? Not exactly, but where are you from in England?
I was
address, please. Yeah, address, please.
Home address and postcode.
I was born and bred in North London, Palmer's Green, otherwise known as Palmer's Greek. So you either grew up a Gooner or the other side. Here's the funny thing. My dad is a Man United fan. This is crazy. So you know how people take on their father's teams and stuff like that? Like Amanda, her dad is a nut job Arsenal fan. So Amanda was going to become She's a nut job, and
She
she's
would
an
have had a
Arsenal fan.
podcast if there had been podcasts.
Yeah,
4
if there
years
was
ago.
podcast there, Kelvin would have a podcast, no doubt about it, right? My dad is a Man United fan. My sister's a Man United fan. I became a Gooner, and my brother is a Tottenham fan, which is, I disowned him years ago. I don't even speak to the bastard right now. No, but jokes aside, my cousins kind of took me on board. My uncles, they were all Arsenal fans, and they put their arms around me, and because they were scared I was going the Liverpool way when I was younger. They were like, whoa, hold on a second, and then they all came around the house, Anfield 89. I remember that game so well. We're all sitting in my living room, and my Uncle Zach is there, my Uncle Harry, and they're the ones, and my cousin George, and I have 8 cousins called George. It's a very Greek thing. It's like that scene from My Big Fat Greek Wedding. This is Nicky, Nick, and I am Gus. So I am the Arsenal fan in the family, and that's kind of how that happened. But yeah, I was born and bred in North London, through and through. I had a season ticket at Highbury Squad for a little while, and then moved here 20 years ago.
Highbury Squad?
There you go.
I had a season ticket at the Bearded Gooner channel for a while.
Samurai sword out.
And they raised the prices by like 10 quid. And
no, so I used to go to Highbury. I mean, I loved my, Saturday when kickoffs were at 3:00, you used to watch Saint and Greasy, God bless Ian St. John. He was he was just this very special person. And we loved that show. It was kind of the first punditry really, when you were growing up. And then we used to go to the game, and that was it. That's how I fell in love with the Arsenal.
Awesome. All right, so we've learned a little something here tonight. So
he just asked where you were from, though. That's all he asked.
That's
asked for the whole story.
A Greek woman just said talks much more than she should.
The answer to that question was London.
Typo blood.
Yeah. So we'll bring it back on the rails here. Gary, I'm going to come to you again. Did Arteta get lucky with this lineup, or is there a little bit of guile in what he did on Sunday, or was it just the players showed up, put the performance in, and bailed him out?
That was for me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Gary.
I didn't want to jump.
You gotta say WTT. No one knows what you're talking about.
Yes, so like you said, we looked at the lineup, thought the worst at least, and then when the game happened, it surprised me what I saw out there. I mean, 11 players out there playing as one. I mean, that's what I saw. A team out there actually performing and actually doing everything that I expected them to do before, like, tracking back, moving. They're actually moving around as opposed to standing still, hiding behind the defense. That's what and that's with our second team, right? So I can only imagine when we, hopefully we continue to do that with our starters when they come back in. But that was what I've looked at that the first half, at least this is my third time already. And I'm like, they're just moving around, and that is something we never saw before. We all seem to sit there and go, what are these guys doing? They're not doing anything, but they were moving around. They looked like they had whatever Arteta told them, they were actually doing it for once.
Yeah.
All 11 of them. I didn't feel like one person stood out negatively, and that's surprising because I always want to, when I saw the midfield, I said, Xhaka and Elneny, how is this going to work? And it worked for us today, and I think part of it was they actually went out there and did the job. But also, I think, we did catch, I think we caught, Leicester City on probably a bad day for them, or a bad week for them, essentially. And one thing we did was we took advantage of it. Usually we kind of like, we get a little break and then we sit back and then we look even worse because that's the time to actually take advantage of a team. And we did that this weekend, which is really good to see. That, we would have still had a good game if they were at their peak. But they weren't, and so we just took it to them, and I was happy to see that. It surprised me what I saw. Usually I'm speechless going into when I watch the lineup, and this weekend I was speechless looking at them going, this isn't even our first team, and look at this. This looks good.
Yeah.
This looks really good.
Finally played like a team instead of a collection of 11 individuals, Ryan?
Yeah, and that'll, I guess, segue to my beer of the week. My beer of the week kind of includes. Well, it's so funny. That's, my beer of the week includes. I mean, I know we're going to talk about the Benfica game, but beer of the week is Rainbow. I'm going to face this the right way. It's Rainbows Are Real by Clown Shoes Brewing. Because as Arsenal fans, we I guess see the rainbow. I mean, it's obviously not all daisies and horseshoes. I don't know, hearts. I don't know, but the Benfica game was something that we're not used to, snatching victory in the jaws of defeat when it's usually the other way around. And then this game, we go down early against a team who's a very counterattacking team, a team that's known to really punish us for mistakes that we have been kind of making a lot. But they put on their big boy pants today, and we showed them who's boss. And I think Sophie put it perfectly, just talking about how, Leicester didn't really respect us. And I completely agree. And I think Leicester were waiting for us to make another mistake because we gifted them the first goal. Let's be honest. And we didn't. And we kind of, like I said, we put our big boy pants on, pulled them up real tight, and put a couple belts on.
Pulled
on.
them up like Tierney and Bellerin, hey?
Tucked in our shirt a little bit, and put the front foot forward and really kind of played at them. And I think that kind of goes to our lineup. And watching the rest of the game unfold, the 11 kept making more and more sense to me. And playing Lacazette, yeah, I know we were going to rest Saka. Yeah, you probably want to rest Aubameyang. I get that, but playing Lacazette, I think was a very calculated play by Arteta, and all props to him. I don't even think Lacazette really played that. I mean, I don't think anyone played that bad, but I don't think Lacazette really played that good. But I think he was the right man for the job on this game. And I hate to say it, I think Willian obviously played well, but I think just given what he does structurally with the 11, I think really helped us out and really maintain that balance. Because you had Pepe on the right, you had Cedric with him on as a fullback, and you had a lot of intricate pieces that you wanted to work to create the machine. Again, with the Cedric and the Pepe, with the ESR, Lacazette, and I guess you could include Pepe, that triangle. I think we really wanted to make way with that triangle. So I think there was just a lot of like little tiny pieces that just made this well-oiled machine function properly, and it was just great to watch. And it's always great to see someone like Pepe, who he gets a lot of flack. It was great to see him really play to what he could. He showed us what he could do for us going forward. And for me, it actually wasn't his megging of Leicester players. It wasn't his dribbling. It was his passing. I thought his passing was actually really good, and I think he made a couple of really good passes, especially the pass leading up to his goal. He made a really nice pass to Odegaard, and then passed to William. I just think that's a very underrated part of his game, and I think he has it in him. Even when he has bad games, he does tend to make good passes. It's just overshadowed by the 85% of him trying to dribble through people and constantly lose the ball and get denied. Kind of almost like an Alexis Sanchez. So it's always good to see, players, especially, let's be real, especially when we pay, 2 arms, 2 legs, maybe the whole bottom part of your teeth for, and, a good all-around win.
Yeah. Sophie, luck, guile.
Are you laughing at Lawrence? Lawrence is such a pisser. Lawrence is such a pisser, man. I love him, man.
I don't know what that even is, but I'm into it.
Yeah, we I mean, somehow Mike knows what it is, but the rest of us Yanks on this panel, we have no clue what this is.
Oh, so, good old Dagenham.
I'll be looking this up right now. And if it's age appropriate, I'm going to share the screen.
Oh, sorry, Tanner. You should be able to download a picture that comes up on Wikipedia, and yeah. I know where you live, Lawrence. Let's just put it that way. I know what bar you go to. So,
I'm looking this up right now. Wow.
So yeah. I'll keep it going around the horn then.
Yes, please, Mike, because I'm now
checking out Dagenham. You don't want to hang out in Dagenham, that's for sure. I mean, maybe it's changed over the years, but
maybe Redbridge.
Oh, wait, it's a real place.
What about Redbridge? Is Redbridge any good?
Yeah, Dagenham's a real place. Yeah.
I honestly, when I hear that word, I think of like a place where you get your wand in Harry Potter.
Yeah, you go to Accrington or you go to Stanley.
It's not as sophisticated as something out of Harry Potter, that's for sure.
In America, I think we call it the red light district. I think that would probably
in Amsterdam, it would
They also call that
That's
in Holland,
Amsterdam,
but-
baby.
Yeah, but we have that in New York too.
We did a little rope-a-dope on Sunday.
The old school red light district in England was in London was King's Cross. That was which isn't too far from where the Arsenal lives and breathes. So
that's why the first 5 or 6 times I went back to
London.
London.
No, stop. We digress.
That was when I met Amanda. That's when I met Amanda at the tube station. No. All right.
You leave Amanda alone. Right, samurai sword time.
All right. Now, it was a little rope-a-dope, though. I mean, like I do think in hindsight, which is 2020, of course.
Always.
It's very hip now, King's Cross. It's very
we let Leicester. I mean, this is about the football game, Sophie. Can we get back to that, please?
Sure, fine.
We let them we lulled them into a false sense of security. I mean, we know they take us lightly because they've had their way with us, really, other than the one game a few years ago where we scored that beaut of a goal, which I was also at. But I do agree with the point that was made earlier, which is especially after the Tielemans goal, they must have thought they were just going to walk over us. And then we were hiding back. I think that goal was actually a strategy to kind of lure them in. We're like, we'll give them one goal. Leno will uncharacteristically not even get a hand on it. And then we'll go and take their teeth out.
See, I don't want to target this guy already, but you say strategy. Who made that mistake? Xhaka. I know everyone loves him, and he had a good game after it.
That is strategy. He told Xhaka.
He's done that so many times.
Mari and Leno to all.
If there was any other player on the pitch that made that mistake, I would have said, yeah, it's probably his plan. But Xhaka, I don't know. I think he flubbed it. Like
obviously, I'm kidding, but
I know.
The fight back is something we haven't seen in a long time when we go down 1-0. I mean,
but it's the adversity, right? It's overcoming adversity, and we've done that 2 games in a row now. Do you know how hard it is to come back from needing 2 goals in a European match when you're playing at home, but you're in Athens, Greece, and then to be able to do that? This particular Arsenal team, who've been ripped to shreds all season by their own fans and by opposing fans and the media. And then you go to Leicester, who are the darlings, and supposedly earlier on in the season, they were one of the favourites to win the Premier League under Brendan Rodgers.
Brendan Rodgers is the king of all. You
concede a goal like that, and usually we would have capitulated, absolutely fallen to shreds. And we've seen that so many times, haven't we, guys, where we go 1-0 down, we can't overcome the adversity, and then before you know it, it's half-time and we're 2-3-0 down. So
that is why when people just blatantly say we're 10th, we're out of the cups.
Yep.
We were 8th last season. We have 11 losses, and they don't want to take a moment to look at the way that things have changed, the small metrics that ultimately will come together to make all those larger, most important things like our place in the table and that less important. I mean, those will resolve themselves when the small things all align and resolve themselves. But we don't lose games. I got in trouble last night, and I worded it very poorly, and I was actually being sarcastic.
You in trouble? No.
Right? in trouble with proper Arsenal supporters when I said our losses have been very different, and they've been better losses, I guess, than we had before. And my point was not that a loss is okay, but that the team's attitude and spirit was not to roll over anymore. And the same could be said, and the next piece of the pathway is to not have those losses in any way, shape, or form. But the other piece of the puzzle is we don't just bend over and put our heads down and take it in the rear anymore. We've been down unexpectedly in the last many times in the last few weeks and have fought back more often than.
Did he freeze?
There he is. The typical Mike Freeze.
Yep.
Well, anyway, that's why I think you can point to things that are improving under Mikel Arteta, even while the global outcomes and the place in the table, which matters more than anything else, is the worst it's been in a while. I think we're seeing some things change, and that's one of them. So
And I think what makes it even better is we're doing all this stuff, and like we said earlier, we changed our lineup completely. 6 changes from Europa, and we're still doing this. We're still pulling our. I think we're going to probably keep saying this. We're still pulling our big boy pants up, even with different players, and we're doing it. The mentality is coming, and
you love big boy pants, man.
You know what?
Are you a big kid now?
I am, because normally I podcast without pants. Sorry for everyone that isn't watching, but I'm actually wearing sweatpants right now because I'm in a new place and I'm trying to feel out my surroundings like a mouse. But I will say though that the mentality is changing, and I think we can all agree that.
Why do I continue to bring you on this show?
What does that even mean?
It's got the newscaster outfit on.
To do with being in a new
yeah.
It's the newscaster.
I'm on vacation. I'm in a different surrounding.
You're like a mullet. Business up,
business
top,
in front, party in the back. Yeah, it's always a party with me, baby. But yeah, no, and I think with the things that we've done, I mean, you could say 10th place. You could say Arteta's not the guy. You can make all these statements that are true technically, but I think we could all agree, and in the chat, if you don't agree, say it. But we're starting to see something. We're turning a corner a little bit, and we're starting to see like, okay, these guys kind of are buying into Arteta. They kind of know what's going on. They know they know what they should be doing and what they want to do, and they're doing it. And it's not just one starting 11. I
think you need 4 or 5 more games to say we're turning a corner.
No, I know, but I think we're starting to see something. I don't know what it is yet. I don't know if it is turning the corner. We could just be going down a really long hallway, like in that dream where you have like nakedness and you see teachers and kids laughing at you, and you're walking down an extremely long hallway. It gets longer and longer the more you walk it. But I don't know. I just think that we're starting to see mentality from this team. I don't think it's quality of skill. I think it's just mentality. It's the fact of it's only 1-0. We could do this. It was a small blip. Pick up your pants and like essentially again. Bless you.
Dear God, what happened there?
Especially with someone like a Granit Xhaka who constantly comes into the microscope. He made a really terrible mistake, and the rest of the game he was good. As
it's
someone
so
who
easy
does
to
not
point the
support
finger
him.
at Xhaka, isn't it?
Oh no, it is. It is. And for the Arse Bros, when I did my pluses and minuses, I gave Xhaka my -3, but only because of the goal. And it's because
you gave him a -3 in the Leicester game.
Because I thought everybody no one really played bad, and I was like, well, I'm going to be boring, and I'm going to get the low hanging fruit, and I'm going to give Xhaka because let's face it, I'm not his biggest fan. And he made a very poor mistake, and had nothing else happen, if we didn't decide to put on.
What did you give Ceballos? So when was Ceballos making 2 massive mistakes against Benfica, did you give him -100?
Okay, no. So I should probably explain to you, Sophie, how this works. So for Arsenal, what we do is we do +3, which is like man of the match, +2, +1, and then we do a -1,
bloody hell,
-2,
I can't
-3.
do maths. I'm just useless. You lost me. My partner Tony was talking about black holes last night. She's watching some Netflix documentary. I'm like, woo, way over my head. I'm just not. Yeah, creative brain.
Yeah,
so football, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if I and I agree with you, Sophie. I don't know if I could say we're turning a corner, but like Lodestar Londoner said, which I'm going to go to you again, I guess. We're starting to see character. We're starting to see mentality, and I'm excited. And I'm actually we have Burnley at 7:30. I mean, for us, for us on the East Coast, we have Burnley at 7:30 in the morning. I'm gonna get up. I'm like excited to watch this. Whereas like a normal Burnley game, you'd be like, oh man, this might be a tough watch. And who knows? I'm gonna probably eat the words right now, and it probably will be a tough watch. But
no, but the noon kickoff is never good for us. We haven't won one in a long time.
Oh, we're terrible.
Didn't Mertesacker come out and say we hate these games?
It's like that book, Who Moved My Cheese? It's like one piece at a time. This is as critical as I've been of Arteta. It's one step at a time, game by game by game, and you can't let Aubameyang scores a hat-trick against Leeds. We beat them, but then we regress after that. So now you go to Benfica, you go to Leicester. You've got to beat Burnley, especially as the Spuds beat them and thrashed them in the manner in which they did. You've got to win that game, and then you do that. Now we've got to go on a run. That's the only time we'll know if we turn a corner.
Is anyone else almost forgetting about? I mean, this is worrying me because. All I can think about is Olympiacos, Spurs, Olympiacos, and I keep forgetting we play Burnley on Saturday. I just hope I hope the team's not forgetting about that.
I'll be totally honest with you, and
it's a crap game.
I sent this to all of you guys. Consistently consistent is the way that I worded it. But so if you're actually this is what it's been all year long. We show signs of the improvement, but then no sooner do we get our hopes up with the improvement. We've turned a corner. Chelsea was the turning of the corner, and then what happens? We regress.
Right.
It's like it's either 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or it's 1 step forward, God forbid, 2 steps back.
And it's the hope that kills you, isn't it? And hope is never a plan. It's hope is there for us romantics. We always live in hope, but it's time Arsenal had a little bit more than that. And I think that mentally we are starting to overcome obstacles and we are moving in the right direction. But I'm so jealous when I see Man City. I mean, I'm not going to lie, you guys. I'm envious. I'm jealous. It makes me feel like we were that team once. We were that prolific. We went on those kinds of runs.
I feel the same way when I look at Rob Lowe. I mean, I'm like, this is like
Rob Lowe St. Elmo's Fire Rob Lowe or Rob Lowe the West Wing Rob Lowe. I mean, there's a difference.
The West Wing. I'm so close to being this again, but I'm not. And
see, it's funny. I say Chris Pratt, but now I'm Zach Galifianakis. So I mean, now it's even worse. I get that.
Well, I'm Greek, so I love Zach. But here's the thing.
I'm Chris Farley 5 years after he passed away at this point.
Are you reincarnated? Are you reincarnated as Chris Farley? Is that what's happening? Yeah.
No. Hey, no. If you're Chris Farley, let's go, man. You just tipping dales, baby. Come on with it.
But the truth is,
I need Patrick Swayze, and I can't get him back.
We could keep going with the 80s, Maybe you're actually Emilio Estevez in Breakfast Club. Win. That's the Arsenal.
I'm not the jock. No, I was more the Anthony Michael Hall character, I think, in that movie.
Yeah. No, but look what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Okay, about a year ago, you guys, everyone in the Manchester United universe wanted Ole gone, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And a little bit like Arteta, he took on a legendary club, replacing a legendary manager after a couple of bad appointments. So what did they do? They played it safe and they brought in someone who's beloved, who could maybe calm the chaos and reinstate what it is to be Manchester United Football Club. That night against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, he's forever ingrained in United history. Now, Arteta doesn't have the same history as Ole does at United, but he was a good captain for us and a very classy player who was liked. But we followed a similar mantra and everyone wanted Ole out. But here we are now. They were in a similar position to us, bottom half of the league and not going anywhere. All of a sudden, they start to click. I think they have a better spine and a better squad than us, but they're second in the Premier League right now. And so sometimes when I talk to Kev and Amanda on the show, I say, this is what gives me hope, is that maybe Arteta can pull an Ole, but he's going to need better players because we don't have that spine that United had. But it's possible. And when you see that, you think to yourself, well, why can't that be us? But he's got to progress in the Premier League. Winning the FA Cup is good, but you've got to now start being better in the Premier League. And he'll be judged. If we're in the same position in October or November in the Premier League, then that's when you can ask questions. But between now and then, I'm willing to give him the opportunity and the time to prove that maybe he can pull off what Ole did at Man United.
So, Sophie, I have a question. Do you think Ole is now a good manager? Would you consider him in the top, I guess?
Good question.
No, I think it's a brilliant question because I think that he's also lucked out because the Premier League, other than City, has been dicey. It's been crazy. Insane results. I mean, who'd have thought that
29 penalties.
It's been a very weird season. Terrible decisions, terrible refereeing, teams beating top 6 teams that shouldn't. And so I think in a way they've kind of lucked out, but the table doesn't lie, you guys. It never lies. You can't, it's different in a cup competition, right? City could lose to Spurs in the League Cup. I cut my tongue off and I say, God forbid. But it's possible in a one-off game that could happen. But in a league of 30 plus games, the table doesn't lie. Never does. And so they are there on merit. They've had some comebacks. They've gone 1-0 down. They've done that a lot this season. And Bruno Fernandes, you talk about players that come in and change a team. Arsenal Football Club need that player. Thomas Partey is that player, but he's been injured. Gabriel's really good, but he suffered from COVID and hasn't really been the same since. Saka is our player, but he's homegrown. Aubameyang has suffered, but he's coming back into form now. Who's going to be that signing that clicks this team together? We need that Bruno Fernandes signing that's going to help galvanize the rest of the team in a creative way where we make more chances and score more goals. That has been our Achilles heel this entire season.
I'll answer the question.
It's you all can answer. Wait, it's my question or someone else's?
No, I'm going to answer Sophie's question. Who's that player going to be? It's going to be Martin Odegaard. When he's going to get, I'm telling you right now, take it to the bank. You're going to bring him in.
I think we need a player like Basuma next to Partey. I think we need.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep, yeah. Absolutely. Yep, I agree with that too.
My question was going to be just the guy next to Partey. That's what we need because we are complete. We are that will solidify the middle, and we need that right now. I mean, Partey, just a little bit that we've seen. If we can get 80% of him, pretty soon it'll be a good season for us. But
we just need to take over the middle of the field where we've not been a team that's commanded the middle of that field, and that middle of the field is pretty important.
Yes. We got to play faster. We're too slow, right? Look at what we've done in the games like Leeds. We were fast. We moved. We had movement. Flank. You know, everything was moving quickly. And then when we slow down, we just allow teams to come into us, and we crumble a little bit under the pressure, right? So if you really want to move this team forward and be competitive in the Premier League again, you've got to buy a right back. You've got to have cover at left back for Tierney. You've got to put a Partey with a great partner. And I would even argue that we need another striker.
Yeah, that's the summer right there. That literally is the summer transfer window. And I want to kind of backtrack just a hair, but with Arteta and the Ole comparison, keep something in mind here with Arteta. He comes in a year ago, just over a year ago. So he's been in charge now for what, 15 months. So math isn't really my strong suit either.
Oh, we know.
He's been in charge for what, roughly 15 months now. Yep. The season last year interrupted by COVID. The summer is completely screwed up because of because of COVID and then the restart. He hasn't really had a chance to do anything. I mean, he gets how many training sessions a week does he really get? 2, maybe 3, because the schedule's been so congested. So, the summer training isn't real. Last summer wasn't really a proper training camp, in my opinion. So this is the summer where after this summer, like Sophie said, come next October, November, December, that's when we really start to judge what Arteta has done at this club. And to go back to the mental strength that it takes to come back the way we have, like Sophie said, a year ago, this doesn't happen. A year ago, a little over a year ago, if we find ourselves in these situations, we don't win these games. No, we'll
Can I add 2 quick things really quick? Yeah. Non sequitur in the chat. First of all, 2 things that I love. Mike Hers is absolutely doing bits in the chat, by the way.
He always is. That's my cheetah-roo, my spirit animal.
I know he's doing bits. Secondly, that's the second one, and I'm pretty sure he's talking about my son and not me. But we're interchangeable really when it comes to football. Second is I love Gary. I'm in a podcast with Gary, and Gary is saying hello in the chat to both of my alter egos that are in the chat at the same time. Like it's just
podcastception.
It's almost a 3-way with Gary that I'm having in various situations.
Oh, you know what? I've been trying to get all these images out of my head, and you keep adding another one to the list.
Sorry. You're gonna have a long recovery, I think.
Gary kicking off his bucket list. Here's some a gerbil.
Good evening, the football gerbil. I mean, like, there's no like wink or nod or anything. It's just like hi to the latest person that's joining the podcast.
So what I will say to Tanner, I completely agree with you, and I guess kind of trekking back to my question to Sophie, like I think Ole is a terrible manager. I think he's just happened to step in the right shithole, and I think I think his team is just doing what it needs to do to win games, and doing. I mean, and does that include maybe getting penalties? Probably, but
they're second in the league.
No, yeah, and then
I
to your
couldn't believe
point,
that. I can't believe Leicester's first in the league, and we're fifth. I thought that they would be like Manchester United would have double the next team.
And it's funny
then what are you going to say about Klopp this season? Is he a crap manager all of a sudden because Liverpool is suffering? They have injuries, right? They've not been great. You know what it is? You know what it is, you guys? A team is every successful team is an image of their manager. Okay. Antonio Conte did it at Juventus. He duplicated that at Chelsea.
Yep.
Pep Guardiola has done it at Barca, Bayern Munich, and Manchester City, right? Jurgen Klopp did it at Dortmund for a while, and he did it at Liverpool. And you have to take on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might not be the great manager, but his pedigree at United has this team. He's put a spell on the team in a way where they believe in him, right? So they fight for him. Mikel Arteta.
Have there been any comments from the press? Sorry, so has anyone come out and said Ole's really? Or, I mean, do they do that at Manchester United, or do they all just cash their checks?
I just don't. I just think that he's riding on his pedigree, and I think tactically it's his assistants that kind of have that prowess versus him.
I was just gonna say that. Yep,
I
think
he's the talisman, right? He's the guy that inspires them. So. Mikel Arteta needs to build this Arsenal team in his image. For a while, Arsenal were the image of Wenger. Sexy champagne football, attacking football. They took on his persona. We were a bit too polite, just like him. We didn't have that shithousery in games. And we could see that in certain games and stuff like that. So Diego Simeone, Atletico Madrid.
Great example.
Takes on the image of the manager. And until we do that, we're not going to have the Arsenal team that we all want to see. And I think he needs this transfer window in the summer to be able to really, truly build this team in his image. He's got rid of the deadwood in January. There's still players like El Neni who have to go, Chambers who have to go. I would say Bellerin should go. I think he likes Jack and he'll be a squad player if we bring in a Basuma or a player like that to play a long party. So he needs to be given one more window to try and build that team in his image. And then you can super judge him, I think.
The image thing is brilliant. And that's why I could not believe when Stoke actually brought in Woody Allen to manage them. It's no wonder that they slid through the – I mean, you have to have a guy in with a better image than that. Little Nebuchadnezzar football team sliding through the ranks.
The hell.
Come on.
One thing you said, Sophie, that I was just wondering, do we feel like we have? Does Arteta have a bench next to him like Ole does, with coaches that are helping?
Yes, I think we have good coaches. I just don't think we have as good a players as United. I don't think we have that spine, right? So. I think that, someone mentioned Unai Emery just now. Sophie, does that apply for Emery as well? Well, for a time, Emery played this Arsenal team like a cup team. I think we went on that 22 unbeaten game run with Emery because he approached every game like a Europa League game. It's them against us. This is the game we have to win. And they say every manager just looks at the game in front of them, but it's how you approach it. That Man City Premier League game, I said, Arteta should have approached that the same way we beat them in 2017 and 2020 in the FA Cup. Play it like a cup game. It's a different mentality, right? But I think he didn't trust the players enough to be able to do that. So it's a really great question. And I think that until he has all of the players he wants, it's just not going to happen that way. So yeah, I just think United have a better squad. I mean, you look at them, and I just think that they do. So and until we kind of enhance our squad, we're not going to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah, and I'm sorry, I just want to say one quick thing, Ken. I promise. And you put it perfectly. I think in America, I bring this up. I think the last 3 podcasts I've been on, but in college basketball in America. We have the March Madness tournament, which is coming up.
Oh my God, I love it. My Colorado Buffs hopefully going to make the dance. The big dance.
Who are the defending champs, by the way? I just want to know.
Wow. I don't know, but honestly, I don't want to.
Colorado.
I don't want to go crazy. I can't stand Duke because they always do well, and they're apparently not going to make the tournament. So I'm excited about that.
They're on the bubble. They're on the bubble.
Yeah, they're on the bubble. I think they're the first 4 out. But this isn't a college basketball podcast, or is it? No. But so what I will say is, the motto or the moniker that the tournament has, it's survive and advance, and I think that, and you said it perfectly with Emery about the cupping, and I think that was his motto going into every game: survive, advance. And I always said this when he was our manager. You know, he didn't play to win; he played not to lose. And for a time where we had the players, that's fine. That's cool. But then when
you can't get eliminated from a tournament if you don't lose.
No, but he won 3. He took on his Europa League. He won 3 Europa Leagues. The dude won. Yeah. Okay, whatever you want to say about him.
You know he's going to win another one this year.
We're going to face him at some point.
We're going to wipe the floor with Villarreal. Let's go.
I've said this before about Unai Emery. You never want to be the guy that follows the legend. You want to follow the guy that follows the legend.
Brilliant points, Hannah, because look at United. David Moyes set up to fail. You never want to be that guy. No. You know, it's like even in corporate life, the dude that just, or the girl or the woman who smashed it, you follow them and you're like, oh my God.
There's one sports franchise that I can think of that, and I say franchise because this is not about football clubs, that has had luck basically replacing one legend with another. And it's the Pittsburgh Steelers, Tanner.
I mean, true. Yeah.
From a coaching standpoint,
three coaches in what year is this?
Yeah, but they backed him, right? The Steelers backed them. They backed Mike Tomlin.
It's a little different dynamic, but yeah, I mean they're
properly run. It's a much different. We've said this before. It's a much different environment here because there's no relegation. So you know in the NFL you realize pretty early on if you're going to be a good team in contention or if you're going to be a bad team. And if you're a bad team, pack it in. Go get the high draft pick and start rebuilding. The worst thing in an American sports league to be is mediocre.
Yeah.
So in the NFL, the worst thing to be in the NFL is an 8-8 team because you draft in the middle of the pack. You never move up. You never really move down. You're just
and that's a dynamic that really only exists over here. You're right, but I mean,
it is.
But look at Chelsea. They have this managerial revolving door. It works for them. It's their culture. They delete and repeat, and
there will be a price to pay for that eventually.
Oh, absolutely.
Carlo Ancelotti got sacked in the stairwell at Goodison Park after winning the double. Roberto Di Matteo got sacked after winning the Champions League. We're not that kind of club. We don't delete repeat.
Thank God.
But I would take. It's a great question for everybody. I would take a little delete and repeat to win. Look what even Jose Mourinho. Say what you want about him. He won the Europa League and the League Cup at United. They haven't won anything since Mourinho. This is what scares me about the enemy. He's there. This tosser. He could win the League Cup. He could win Europa League. He's got that type of vibe about him. I'm not saying they're going to do it.
I think he's in year 3 already, even though he's only in year 2.
But Mike, you have to look at this from that point of view, in the sense that there's certain managers that just know in those one-off games how to pull it off, right? And this is what I like about the Arsenal's chances, because we're a cup team right now. We're not a Premier League team again yet, but we're a cup team. So the Europa League is where we should put all our eggs in that basket.
Funny that you say that, because it brings me to my next question. Are our hopes of qualifying for Europe, and I mean Champions League or Europa League, are they dead as far as the league position is concerned? Gary, you with me?
EWTT.
Sorry, I'm here. I was in the middle.
Who's Gary?
Come on, DeWitt.
Gary.
I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. I just texted you guys in the
it's
chat
all right.
there.
We're still
My
talking
dog
about
was whining. Dog was whining at me because the boss went upstairs, and then as soon as I got out of my seat, he took off.
Of course.
And I'm like,
hey, man,
what?
When it's puppy problems, there's nobody in the world that understands you better than I do. Believe me. So that's why I disappeared for whatever it was, a minute and a half.
Yeah. Sorry, what did I miss?
So the question to you is: are our hopes of qualifying for Europe through league position dead?
Wow, they are.
Well, that sounds like a nice drink, Mike. I like
Hey,
that.
Mikey, gotta go to the bathroom.
It's a nice pour.
That actually reminded me of the Naked Gun scene with Leslie Nielsen, where he goes to the bathroom and he's wearing his.
Oh my
He's
lord!
got the microphone on. I actually thought I did that once on a podcast because I had the earbuds in and I went and I forgot that there was no I thought there's no microphone here. I got the microphone and then I got the thing coming through here. But
so
yeah, I almost did that.
Yeah, I think we're on life support as far as getting all the way up to the top because I think we got a lot to do. And
Well, he's saying top six,
Europe.
Gary. He's essentially saying can we get sixth in the league?
Six.
Because you said either one.
Six sounds it's achievable, but I don't know. I feel like we're going to be spreading ourselves thin if we try to win the Europa League, which I think we'd rather win that, right, and finish 7th or 8th.
Yeah,
right. So
absolutely,
I think
100%.
I don't want to kill ourselves trying to get a 6th spot when we can. I mean, worst case scenario, yeah, we won't get anything. But I feel like for the team, I feel like we need to be able to compete. And right now, competing right now has to do with the Europa League. I think we've those 2 losses that we had a couple of weeks ago kind of hurt us, right? I mean, you get 2 or 4 points out of those 2 games that we lost that we probably shouldn't have, and it's a totally different story right now. But we lost them, and I think it's gonna be tight. I think it's gonna be really tight for us to kind of move up 4 spots right now, especially with teams with games in hand. I think that's going to be, Everton's the only one that's kind of let us come back. Aston Villa still has 2, right? So I think it's going to be tough.
Spurs got 1, but
yeah, I think it's going to be a little tough for us.
We've got to win that North London derby.
That's so important.
Yep.
And he's not beaten. He's never beaten Mourinho as a player, and he's not beaten him as a manager yet. So this is a huge game.
So
yeah, and it's right in the middle of the 2. It's right in the middle of the 2 Olympiacos games, and we were asked earlier on Bergkamp Wonderland, like it's one of these awful, ridiculous psychological or hypotheticals, psychologicals. You have to choose. You either win the Olympiacos tie and proceed, or you beat Tottenham, but you can't do both.
Ooh,
why can't you do both? Whoa! Why?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, we should be able to do both, right?
Of course we should be able to do both. It's one of those stupid hypotheticals, but it makes you think a little bit. We were asked that.
You mean a would you rather is what you mean?
Yeah. Well, no. If you
rather?
if you had the opportunity to know going in for some unforeseen reason that you would be able to choose one but not both, which one would you choose?
Listen, yeah. We have to do both. That's the for this. No. It is an option because for this manager, Mike, he needs a big result, and he got a big result against Leicester, but it's not the uber big result. Beating Mourinho and beating Spurs is a big result. Going back and making right what was wrong. And you were there that night at the Olympiacos game at the Emirates, weren't you? Were you at that game, or did you come? Did you fly in after? I was there for that game, and when that second goal, when they scored that goal, Tsimikas, who I was like, oh, he could play for the Arsenal. I loved him. He's now at Liverpool. They bought him as a cover for Robertson and stuff, but it was a sucker punch. It was like someone just punched you in the chest, and you. I felt awful
because I was going to be going to the next Europa League away, wherever home and away, wherever that was, and it completely ripped that.
He needs to exercise
before
those
COVID did.
But this is the consistency that he needs. He needs to beat Olympiacos. He needs to get through the next round, and he's got to beat Tottenham. It's time to get big results. Show that you've evolved this team, that you're building that consistency, and that you really can do this job. No excuses. We've got to do both.
That's great. The question is, have you ever been asked, like, who would you do? And the answer is always, well, both, obviously, but you have to choose one. Or the other.
No.
Unless the only options are you and Ryan, and then the answer
is this that marry, kill, divorce game you want to play right now?
No, it's the pretend just for a minute that you could choose between either beating Tottenham and losing to Olympiacos.
Look, I love playing the what if game, Mike, but no, not on this occasion. Mikel Arteta
Can I
Has
get
to
anyone
be
else to
Tottenham.
give their opinion on this?
You saw the Deion Sanders commercial. 20 million, 15 million, both.
Yeah,
I
well,
want it all.
Prime time Dion. Yes.
so you don't want to play the game,
time.
then. You don't
All
want
right,
to
so
play the game.
I'll be the one person that humors
It's
you. I'm
not
gonna
my
play this
game. It's not my game. I
I'm
had
gonna
to
play
make
your
the
game.
choice.
All right, Jigsaw. I'm gonna play your game right now. Ready? So what I'm gonna say is
I'll take your test. Do you want me to take your test?
I'll take it.
What movie was that
I'm
from?
gonna say I don't care. It's Olympiacos. I'd rather beat Olympiacos, but 150% I'm in Sophie's camp. I'm winning. I want to win all both, and that's the whole thing. And I think that should be the theme.
Who's going to say no?
I don't
want to win.
But
both.
listen, no, I know. But the theme of this podcast and the theme going forward as a club is, we're building a mentality. Yeah, we're doing the right things. We're changing the club culture. Consistency. We need consistency, and the Burnley game is going to be a perfect test to that consistency. We normally we cannot beat these small teams. We can't beat these teams that sit in a very, very low block and just let us come at them. We can't score. We can't do anything. This is a perfect test for us. Like you guys all said earlier, this is like, to me, this is almost as important as the first leg of Olympiacos, because we need to build that consistency. We need to just show everybody we're here to stay. And for a while, we've never shown that. For a while, it's like, oh, we're doing so well. It's the hope that kills you. And then
Manchester
we fall on our
Derby's this
face.
weekend, right? Manchester Derby's this weekend. It's on
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yep.
You think for a second Pep or Ole would sacrifice that for Champions League? No, they
one's
want to
sugge-
win both.
No
I
one's
know what you mean,
suggesting that
Mike.
we sacrifice. It's a pure hypothetical, my dear.
I
You know
love
what,
playing
the
the
one
what if
thing-
game, Mike.
yeah.
but
Oh, I just
go
called
on.
you dear, didn't I?
I was gonna say the one
Sorry,
thing
Dear
the
God.
reason why we want to win both is because when we don't, it looks like the City game. Because it seems like the City game, we kind of took our foot off the gas. We're like, whatever. We'll just we're down a goal. We'll just shut it down. And I don't like that. And I think the team can't do that because we can't shut it off and turn it back on again.
You
No,
win
I
every
agree.
game.
I
You've
agree
got
with
to
you.
win
You
every
don't need
game.
a reason to explain why you want to win both. I want to win both, but I actually understand how to answer a hypothetical question.
How do I explain this, Mike? Like
The question's garbage.
I know what you're.
Well, I didn't ask the question. I'm going to go back on Danny's podcast and see who asked that question, because you can tell them to their face, and I know you will, that was garbage.
It's so funny, Mike, because I completely get where you're coming from, or where the question is coming from. But like the fact is, like, we need consistency. I don't want that question in my reality. Well, we beat Olympiacos, so if we lose to Spurs, it wouldn't be great, but it's better if we beat Olympiacos the next. No. Win. And I get what you're saying.
Compartmentalize your emotions, then, because I could deal with hypothetical.
Hang on.
Because we need to show consistency.
Hang on. Mike Hers wins this show.
I told you he was doing bits
Sophie
today.
doesn't play, Mike. She quit school because of recess. Come on, man. Come on.
Sophie and I are immune from hating each other over anything because we love each other. But
We have an insomniac WhatsApp group.
this is a we're always knackered together. But although that sounds really bad, but yeah, no, I did not expect such strong pushback over that hypothetical.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I love
Nobody
playing
likes
the what
it.
if
Nobody
game, but
likes
let's
it.
do that more with transfers. I'm telling you right now, if we lose that game to Spurs, I don't think I'll be more pissed off or upset or blue or depressed than losing any other game this season.
And that was my answer. I said, you know what? The Europa League 16 teams, and frankly, I think we've got a fairly slim shot
Olympiacos
of
too.
that.
We've got to exercise those demons. Both of them. Mike, this is it. It's shit or get off the pot time. It's shit or get off the pot time. He's got to get these results now.
Yeah.
It's
All right,
time
so
for him to do this.
Yeah.
Well, so when we do my birthday pod on the 12th, which is the night after the first Olympiacos game,
And we're eating
and
meze.
and 2 days before the big fat Greek Jewish birthday pod that we're doing.
That sounds exciting.
If we beat beat Olympiacos in the first round, I'll make sure to mention that I'd be totally cool with us losing to Spurs over the week.
Yeah, but we'll have a second game, so we can't celebrate until the second leg. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
I'll bring the retina, you know.
Mike, you're just gonna constantly lose. Every time Sophie's here, you're just gonna lose. You're wrong. Just deal with it.
I mean, look. Here's my answer to the question. Beat Burnley.
Good
Start
point.
there. Beat Burnley. Start
That wasn't part of the question, Tanner.
You know what?
Don't ruin the game.
You know what? Hey, I'm going Roddy
question.
Piper here. I'm going Roddy Piper. Just when you guys think you have all the answers,
I changed the question.
I go and change the question.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. Okay, I didn't make it up. I'm just playing.
Yes,
it.
I think this is all about consistency.
Win both.
Win. This is
Play
Arteta's
to win the game.
On a serious note, 18 March, we'll know exactly what we are as a club.
100%.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
Oh my God! Wow.
I'm nervous, but yeah,
big. It's big.
If we win all 3 of those games, I'll be fine losing all the games after that.
I might eat the humble.
No.
Mike, you're doing it all wrong. You're doing it all wrong.
Like Charlie Murphy said on the Chappelle Show, wrong.
Right. I love the Lone Star Londoner comment. Losing to Spurs. Oh, where'd it go? Losing to Spurs is never acceptable. Divorce, job loss, COVID, fine, but we can't lose to Spurs.
yeah.
He said this before.
I'm headed towards. Oh, I've got one of those already. I'm headed towards the rest of them. So.
Oh my God! By the way, if we do make it to the Europa League final, can we go to Poland? Do you think? Do you think they'll let some fans in?
I'm going to go to Gdansk. I'm doing it. We're meeting there.
Wait, what did you just say?
I don't even know.
I'm going to go to Gdansk.
Oh, Gdansk is where it is, right?
Yeah.
Good one.
I mean, there's a lot of good teams in the Europa League, guys. This is one of the toughest. When United won it that year, there was some garbage teams in that. I'm not. You still have to win it, and they did. But there was no
young boys in the round of 16. I mean, that wasn't that
right.
You're making us make. I'm not even.
Just don't.
I'm done.
Go there with the young boys. Oh my goodness! Wow.
But I mean, the only good thing with, I guess, if you want to make a positive out of all these, there's so many good teams. The good teams are playing the good teams. You have Man U against AC. In this round. So hopefully,
that's the only example of the good teams.
That's the only example, but like the next round, I think there's still some teams left that we're.
Who's playing Granada? Like, there's going to be a team. There's Granada.
The Greb or something. Not a good team.
No. Is it? It's not Mold, is it? It's not Mold.
Oh yes, I think it is Mold. Mold's playing Granada.
So there's going to be an opportunity.
There'll be a prime draw in the final 8. Yeah.
Right.
Mold and Granada.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rangers and Prague.
So that opens things up a little bit, right? But we've got to get past the Greeks, and we meet Socrates, Papasadopoulos,
and
I love that.
They have an injury to one of their center backs.
Tomatoes out. Tomatoes out.
It's going to be and Socrates have to play.
There's two people we got to be worried about. And I know we're throwing your agenda completely out the window, Tanner. But
that's been long gone for like what 40 minutes ago.
I gotta be honest. I tuned you guys out like 15 minutes ago.
Two players to worry about on Olympiacos.
I know who you're going to say, Mike. Go on.
The first is Jan Mavia, because
oh my God, yeah.
When we're on the pitch with unless he thinks he's playing for us after all this time, and he actually turns around and scores.
We wanted to sign him like 8 years ago.
Yeah, and then the other is, I mean, I've been saying this for years. The best taker of a corner kick in the history of football existence is Matthew Valbuena. We cannot be when we give up corners. When we give up corners against that team,
very good.
He's 36. He's got lots of skills besides that, but like he is to corner kicks what that dude on that YouTube video is to throw-ins that did the flip and the thing. That guy. His corner kicks are almost penalties. So we got to be real careful about conceding.
And Olympiacos are no mugs. They are no mugs.
No, they've been rolling through the Greek league for the last 2-3 years.
We're lucky that their fans aren't going to be in the stadium.
Very.
Oh yes,
Mike,
agree.
that stadium is. I've been to some Olympiacos and Panathinaikos games there, and it is.
The team's good, but the atmosphere is deadly.
Totally
and half to 90% of what makes them so hard to beat where they are by a tougher European team. They're hard to beat there without fans in the Greek league, but for a team like Arsenal to come in there and not have to deal with the atmosphere is fantastic, and we probably feel at home there. We've won more games in that stadium in the last 10 days than they have.
It's funny. It's funny. We had 0 home games last fixture, and now we're gonna have 2 home games. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be fine.
Exactly.
Everything's gonna be okay.
We are playing the second leg at home, right? like
Yes.
at the Emirates Stadium. That is
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know
Which is why they switched
Spurs, isn't it?
they switched the other lots fixtures
But
to
now they don't have to travel before
exactly
North London derby. So
Go figure.
So you're telling me you can't like with a 6 o'clock and an 8 o'clock kickoff with no supporters, you can't have those two games.
No. You can't do that in North London. No.
Even with no supporters?
Let me ask a question. How many people do you think actually show up outside the stadiums right now?
I think fans in England have been pretty good about that, though, haven't they? Really not showing up. But once it gets down to these,
I get it. I get it under normal circumstances. Believe me, I understand that. I'm just saying these are not.
It's just about the principle of the thing. I think
you're changing the competitive balance, though. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with it, but and you're right. Like, without the fans, why do this? But I don't know the logic behind it. But I think because you did go into the transportation thing, the tube, the buses, North London.
For who? I mean, is Charles Watts going to have too much trouble getting to the game?
No, I'm saying like if it was fans and they were going.
Sure, yeah.
Argument, right, but I think it's just on principle and what kind of what the principle has been for years and years and years. You can't have two teams playing at the same time, regardless.
Were we playing at the same time, even on the same day? Were the games kicking off at the same time?
We were. If it was in London, yes, they would kick off. They would kick off at 8, right, or 7:45. So.
Well, no. I thought they still staggered them. One 6 o'clock, one 8 o'clock.
Well, no, because it depends where you're playing, right? But if it's in London and it's a Thursday night kickoff, and whether it's FA Cup or whatever, it would be at the same time. Now they're staggering it because of COVID and stuff like that. Schedules have changed, but generally it would be the same time. So they can't have that, regardless.
The only other thing
going into the stadium or not.
The only other thing I could come up with is that they did it for television purposes. If we were playing at the same time on the same day, would they move one of the matches to satisfy television? That's the only other reason that I could think of to do it.
That they would have done, but yeah.
Yeah. You would think that they would plan this out ahead of time, right? Like not wait till the draw to say, oh, wait a minute. If it's possible in the draw, figure it out. Like, okay, here's how we're going to work this.
You're talking about UEFA though.
Well, as long as we're playing at home too, I don't know. I mean, I think because what's the scoop? We're playing at home and they're playing away, or we're playing away and they're playing
the second leg. We're in London and they're gone, but we were supposed to both be home in London for the second leg.
All right.
And the schedule that they had was, Spurs is playing the first leg at the later kickoff, and Arsenal's playing at the earlier kickoff. So I don't really know. Whatever.
Here's the scoop.
This is thrilling.
I cannot take it. I cannot take it if we meet them in the Europa League. I listen, when they played Liverpool in the Champions League final, once that penalty went in early, I went on a run. Like Forrest Gump, when he just ran and he kept going and going and going.
I just started running.
I was just running.
I was just running and I didn't realize. I mean, I couldn't watch the game. So to meet them in the quarterfinal or the semi or the final, that's going to be brutal. Let's go face it, right? Not
Come
because
on, Zagreb.
Lose, I mean, we just can't have that, Tanner. We can't.
No, not. I get it. Believe me, I get
Would you rather have that or no?
Here we go.
I was waiting for him to jump back.
Would you rather have that or your house be robbed for 4 consecutive days?
Listen, I'll put it this way. When the Patriots played the Falcons in the Super Bowl and it was 21-3 at halftime,
I almost did it again.
I was so mad. Sophie, I took the dogs out for a walk and I'm like, I'm done with this shit.
Oh man,
I'm a Patriots fan, and I was.
Then when he came back, they were lifting the Lombardi Trophy. But
well, no, I took the dogs out for a walk, and I'm like, I don't, and it's the halftime show, so it's halftime goes from being 15 minutes to an hour, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
I took the dogs out, and we're just.
Imagine if the FA Cup final had.
game. What did you do when Malcolm Butler? What did you do then? Did you leave knowing that Seattle were going to score right on the goal line?
Wait. When in Super Bowl 49, when Malcolm Butler intercepted the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, so I really wish that Nicole were here, my fiance, because as she described it to me, she wait, you wish you were here or there?
Me 3.
Anyway, as she described it to me, when Butler intercepted the ball, there's a video of Brady, by the way.
Man, you are in love with that dude.
I mean, why not?
Anyway, so Brady is on the sideline, jumping up and screaming.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like a little girl. And Nicole says to me, "Oh my God, you just did the same thing that Tom Brady did." Because when Butler intercepted the ball, I jumped up and I started screaming.
So the Seahawks never recovered from that.
The first thing you've ever done the same as Tom Brady, by the way.
There's absolutely no doubt. You're absolutely right.
Lawrence Emmanuel's question. I could cope with an Arsenal Man United final. That I can cope with. Easy. I could never cope with an Arsenal Tottenham final. No way.
And it's so funny because I bring this up so many times. Sophie, you might want to cover yours.
Ryan, hang on, because I gotta throw up the real Giannis.
Giannis up at 3:23 in the morning.
Yeah, what a star-studded lineup for a panel. So what's Ryan doing there?
I paid good money, good hard-earned money.
Well done. Hey, real quick. Giannis, we thank you for the donation. But anybody else, and this is the first one that we've gotten tonight. And Giannis, I don't think you've been here for a little while. So anyone else thinking of a super chat at all this evening, please see the link below in the description for our good friend Tony Turner, who is we're trying to raise funds for Tony to get a prosthetic leg. So in lieu of a super chat, we would greatly appreciate you guys donating to Tony's GoFundMe for that cause. Link, once again, is in the description. Tony, I know you're in the chat right now. Go ahead and shout yourself out there. I'll put it up on the screen. So,
bless.
But, that's what we're trying to do. So,
and YouTube
Giannis,
won't take any of it.
I know you just got here. No worries at all, man. You're all good. We certainly
damn it, Giannis! Come on, man. Get with the picture.
He's great too, by the way.
I know it's 3:45, 24 in the morning, but come on.
What?
Ryan, go ahead. What you were?
No. So the only thing I was going to say was I have a weird thing where I actually really dislike Man U more than I do the scum down the road. But with that being said, I actually would rather see Man U in the final than I would the scum, just because of just the implications. Yes, the implications. Just that it would cause us. So yeah, I would have to agree. Seeing Man U in the final would be okay, but they're horrible. They're just terrible.
We would never ever live it down. It would be
exactly. And I think at that point you have to look long term instead of short term. And no.
Would you rather? No, I'm dead serious here. Would you rather, Sophie? Would you rather play? I think you could call this pod. Would you rather? Would you rather play Tottenham in the final?
That's a great idea for a show.
Yeah, would you rather?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Sophie and I are gonna fight over who gets that show out first.
It's you. You came. You just did it. It's yours. But
yeah, we're doing concept shows.
I'm planning it over here right now.
Actually,
I'm going live, baby.
Actually, I will tell you. If you go back in our archives, we used to play an interlude game with like the Rat Pack. This is like Ola, Lee Judges, like some like the guys that we could just completely banter with, and we called it "What's More Important Than Arsenal," and it was basically a what would you do type of show where it's like you either have tickets to the Champions League final, you have tickets to the Champions League final at Wembley, and you're on your way there, and you see your nan on the side of the road with a broken down car. And she needs help. No. And like, do you and you know that it's going to take 3 hours to fix the car? Like those were the questions. And the banter for like 15 minutes after it was beautiful. You got to go back and listen to those if you can.
And it's so funny because
I think we've got like we have a would you rather. It's doing just be an evolution of the game we've already had, but that's going to be coming up next week on the Gooners podcast. But would you rather play Tottenham in the final, Soph, or would you rather Manchester United play Tottenham in the final?
What? That's easy.
Like, is avoiding them in the final better than not
what
getting
Sophie
the final?
said about the final and just how how tough it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's a great question. It's actually a great
Like,
question.
I'm like, would you rather not be in with a shout, or just to avoid that scenario, or would you rather because what you choose is going to happen one way or the other.
Is Jose Mourinho manager?
Ooh.
Well, he's not getting sacked between that.
If it's Pochettino, I'm taking the final. If it's Mourinho, I would rather go out in the semi and not go through the pain.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
But
because I don't trust
But you
Mourinho.
couldn't say that you'd be that if you had to choose, you'd lose to Olympiacos.
No, damn it! I'd always want
16.
my team in the goddamn final, and if we lost, we'd have to deal with the pain.
Yeah.
We're a cup team. They don't have the pedigree we do, so I would trust Arteta to pull it off.
So,
oh my God,
Lawrence has just asked you can't win it if you don't play for it, right? You can't win it if you're not there, you can't win it. So
I know you know what? At the end of the day, it's about winning and putting yourself in a position to win. And if we face Tottenham in the final of the Europa League, I think Tony might just leave the country for a couple days, and
Head down to Baja.
it was enough. I mean, it was enough when she had to deal with them being in the Champions League final against Liverpool because I was unbearable. I couldn't deal with it. I was a hellion. That was the worst.
Oh, that was the worst. I watched that game with I watched that game with a West Ham fan, and which was a breath of fresh air because he hates Spurs as well. And both of us begrudgingly rooted for Liverpool to win that game because of the alternative. But it's like it was like a Sophie's choice of sorts.
Take my daughter.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
This has been fun, guys. We're up against it here at about an hour and a half. It's been a lot of fun. So
has it been that long?
I was just thinking. I thought we were at about 35 minutes right now.
No, we're at about an hour and a half. And we usually do go long here, but we usually go about 2 hours on this show. I desperately try to rein things back in, but no such.
Yeah, you fail miserably.
I always fail miserably. Yep.
You used to do a 3-hour post game show after the 2-hour pod.
Well, that was when we would just get drunk. So I mean,
no change here.
I got no plans after this.
Mike, what are you saying here, huh? What are you saying? I got a fridge full of beer downstairs.
So I'm willing to play Would You Rather after this because I'm not. Mike has me hooked now because what I was going to bring up before is shout out to my friend Connor and John. We would go to the Arsenal. So when I was living in Long Island, we would go to the city. We take a train to the city, and we would watch the games at the city bars for Arsenal America. And every time going to
in New York,
yeah, it was mostly going.
Go to O'Hanlon's or the Pig. We
went to the Pig, and when the Pig closed, we went to O'Hanlon's.
Right. Nice.
But yeah, so going to it, they would start off really stupid and silly, but then we would obviously get very intoxicated. And on the way back, talking about killing live animals and Arsenal losing, getting relegated.
Whoa.
I'm not saying I agree with anything. Listen, I was not involved. Well, I was, but my point is that
I was not involved. But I was.
What's going on right now?
Everything before
my point is would you? My point is Would You Rather has been a great game, and it's always been a staple in my Arsenal fandom. Kind of only because I would play it only with Arsenal fans. So it's funny that you would bring this up and say all these things, and
a friend of Andy's
brings me back.
A friend of my co-host Andy's in Denver. We used to just go to him before these podcasts and be like, all right, we need 8 questions. And he would come up with the most ridiculously hilarious and
they're great. Would you rather
impossible questions. So this will happen in the next 2 weeks, and I will ask each and every one of you guys to be joining us on our podcast.
I'm in.
Rub the Buddha belly, everyone. Rub it. We're going to win. We're going to win the Europa League. Come on. Everyone rub the Buddha.
Rub it.
Yes.
Wow.
It's all the way from China.
Do you release this podcast audio only on iTunes and stuff? Because the last 15 seconds of that are going to sound really, really weird.
Rub my.
Wait, why is the real Giannis saying Zeus is going to be upset with me? I mean,
he's a Greek guy?
No one wants Olympiacos to win. I mean, I'm Greek, but no way. Sorry, Zeus can be upset with me all he wants as long as the Arsenal win. Explain yourself, the real Giannis.
And let's be great. Let's just like I guess the game is not obviously played on paper, but if we lose to Socrates in a tie,
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it is, but I'm just
telling you right now, it's not happening.
I'll be disappointed if both games go by and he doesn't get a red.
Aubameyang's going to break him. He's going to break him.
And it's funny because we talk about Deadwood and you talk about two players who left and went to the same team and they both successfully got a manager sacked, which he might have had his time coming and he probably deservedly so.
Him. Mate, don't worry, we're going to break him. And you know what? You're right, the real Giannis. Look, I don't have a statue of Zeus, but I should get one. You're right, 100%. I will get one. Next time I'm on this show, I'll have one of those naked dudes with the robe.
I'm not allowed to have statues of godlike figures or idols. It's just really, really not good for me.
I'm just going to say
you are a statue of a godlike figure. So
I have a statue of Thierry Henry, but I don't tell anyone at my synagogue.
I'm sure if you ask Mike politely enough, he'll just show up in a robe next time.
Yeah, probably toga.
Was it over when I will show up in a toga with you in solidarity.
We have to wear togas to the Would You Rather show that's coming up.
And this one's for my boy Mike Hertz. Socrates Babastadopoulos. There you go, mate. Just for you.
Dude, Mike is the king of pronunciation. I love it.
Yeah, he's got Arteta. You've got Socrates. I've got Yossi Benayoun. I mean, it's fantastic.
Oh my God, Yossi, well done.
all of a sudden, I feel like I'm one of the hyenas in The Lion King. Sophie, say it again. Say it again.
Socrates Babastadopoulos.
Ooh,
Mufasa.
Say it again. Say it again.
Dinos Mavropanos.
Oh, there we go. He's at Stuttgart there, Ryan.
Sagabo.
Damn right. I know. I'm excited, and it's funny. I hope we can bring him back. And then like, listen, we're so happy that you gave him to us. Here's Borna Sosa, who, if you guys don't know, he plays left midfield / left wing back for Stuttgart, and he is just I drool when I watch him play.
Would you rather?
He has the best. He has. Honestly, I would probably prefer Sosa because he has the best cross in the Bundesliga. Like no one's even close. For him to be back up to Tierney and for him to even potentially play left mid if we needed him, which we don't right now. We have so many options, but Borna Sosa is going to be a big name. You guys remember that name, but yeah, big stuff.
Sammy's
stuff
nephew.
Coming from Stuttgart.
Sammy's nephew, pulling up trees.
So we're going to get out of here. Let these fine folks get on with their lives, unless. I don't want to get on with my life. You know what? We could just go on my channel when we're done and play Would You Rather. Oh my God! I'll set it up right. You want to do it?
Things will get aggressive.
Oh, it'll get very aggressive. But we're gonna get out of here. Seriously,
we'll do some planning and we'll do it proper next week.
You got to do it. You got to do it off the cuff.
You got to do it proper.
At the moment, it's got to be it's got to be off the cuff. Real quick. Burnley is actually the next game on the calendar. We go on Saturday. Gary, I don't want to necessarily go prediction because we just have absolutely no idea what kind of a lineup he's going to put out there. So,
can you imagine unchanged from last Sunday? Like the one time I would expect changes back would be from this one, but you change 6 players and then you go unchanged the next time from that change.
I mean,
that would be interesting.
Would you be shocked? Would you be shocked if he did it?
Nothing would shock me.
Exactly.
Gary, would you rather that or would you rather have a regular lineup?
I think I'd rather have a regular lineup because I want to go until Thiago's ready to go. So I know that wasn't where you were going with it. But
that's actually a really good way to put where I was going because I'm sitting here like I'm picking words out of the air to try to formulate a question that actually makes sense. That was I probably couldn't have asked it any better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think our team can. I think we need to mix things up, and he's doing that. So I think he can't. He doesn't know what he's going to get each time he puts players out because he puts the same players out. He sees something totally different from game to game. So I have a feeling he's going to have to kind of rotate, anyways. So why not?
Kev thinks that we might see Martinelli against Burnley.
I would love that, and this is the time to do it.
Yeah, this would definitely be.
But I mean, are you sitting Pepe or are you sitting Saka again? I mean,
well, You know, you'd have
Both.
if he's going to play on the left and Oba's going to be in the middle, Saka would be on the right. It's a tough one. I mean,
all
you got to
depends
play
on the
Pepe
question that-
again, right? You got to play Pepe.
You got to play Pepe, but that gets into the question that Tanner never even got around to tonight, which is if Cedric's behind Pepe, then you play Pepe.
Well, if ESR's injured, like Aussie Gooner said, if ESR's injured, right? Odegaard's still getting used to it. Does he play Pepe on the left, Oba down the middle, Saka on the right, and then Martinelli behind him
instead of Odegaard? Wow, that would be a weird. I mean, look.
Why?
You know what? If he does it, I'll support it. I'll slate it for an hour and 7 minutes, and then I'll get behind it.
Yeah, right.
Just like I did over the weekend.
I mean, here's the scoop. They've given him a problem. This is good. This is exactly what we wanted. Giving him a headache. Yes. He gets paid the big bucks. Let him choose.
I love the way you put that. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. And I agree with Don Juan. I would keep Saka on the bench again. I'd play Martinelli. I'd play Pepe. I'd play Oba and Odegaard.
I wouldn't.
I just see Saka coming for at least 30 minutes, though.
Yeah.
When you see what happened with ESR, yeah, maybe he comes on as an impact sub.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually not a bad shout because you all you got to do is look at what happened to Smith Rowe as a warning sign when these guys are on. What is it? Pushing when you over rev a car and it's in the red.
Totally. Don't risk him against Burnley. Why? I mean, again, league position, it's a flip of the coin, but the Europa League is where it's at. He needs to be fit for that. I'd like to get
Partey though 40 to 60 minutes in this game because even if you let him get more healthy and you're like we're saving him for that run of 3 games, you need like a prep game, and I'm not taking Burnley lightly by calling it a prep game. I'm just saying like you need him to successfully navigate through an hour before you're comfortable throwing him out there in 3 must-win games.
There's no need to risk anything in this game. There really isn't. I would not take any major chances with the players that we want ready to play against Olympiacos. I just wouldn't do it.
I kind of feel.
And Burnley play tomorrow too.
Is one person I feel like he needs to kind of get a little bit more minutes before he goes into
second half. Give him half hour. Give him half hour. Protect him.
Who's that?
Partey.
Partey. Yeah. So good, Ryan. You know what? Just final thought on the Burnley match.
So what I think we should do, well, before I do it, I'm actually going to, because I showed Gary the beer because I'm so happy Gary was here. And Gary, I love you, dude. I'm going to open this up, baby, just for you, working class hero. Oh, God, Tony.
Cheers.
Gary, I'm getting a sense of an accent. Like, what's the background? What's your
you wouldn't believe me if I told you where I was actually born.
No, I want to know.
Oh, yeah, now I want to know. Were you born in Jersey?
I was born, no.
No, where are you born?
I am actually English.
It's overseas, yeah.
Really?
Okay. It was obviously overseas.
What I hear from Gary is what I hear from Andy, because Andy sounds more Yank than I do most of the times. But there are certain words he says that reveal the fact that he was actually born in London, and spent 8 years in England as before he moved over to the States. And I'm like, I'm getting that same vibe from Gary. So
I left when I was about 9. So.
I left
I'm
when
from
I
West
left
London, as I just found out. Yeah, I was in Hammersmith and Acton is where I lived. So
on the Piccadilly line.
Yep,
that was my home, man. That's why I'm an Arsenal fan. Is because I lived on the Piccadilly line, as did before he says it in all caps. As did Lawrence Emanuel. Lived on the end of the Piccadilly line in Cockfosters. I lived in a place where you wouldn't believe that it's about as posh as it gets.
That's near where I lived, Mike, and where I grew up. Cockfosters, Arnos Grove, that whole end there from Wood Green up. That was.
Oh my God, you guys are killing me right now. I want to go back over. No, in a good way. Like this is fantastic. Actually,
I can't tell you where I live, but I will say that my mother's grocery store was Harrods. So
the food hall at Harrods is very posh. Well done, mate.
Yeah,
well done.
It was posh AF.
Yeah, but this is like the longest goodbye ever. It's like Greeks at the door
Irish,
trying to leave and say,
the Irish goodbye. You don't even say
the Irish goodbye is just you walk in, you say hi to everybody, and then you're out the door.
I do that all the time. I did that at Gooner. I had 5 people knocking at my door 2 hours later hotel security because people thought I had like fallen off of a balcony or something. I did an Irish goodbye Gooner grind. I'm like, look, I'm out.
Nice.
See ya. And
But the real Giannis lives in Chelsea. Very posh. I like that.
I actually, I look back and I'm saying if Chelsea had even been in the first division back when I was living in Knightsbridge, I could have easily fallen into that trap. But no, I got on the Piccadilly line. I headed
throwing Knightsbridge out
towards
there.
Cockfoster
Very posh.
and the second year was St. John's Wood. I just want to put that out there.
Oh, I love St. John's Wood. Yeah, very nice. That's where the cricket ground is.
Yeah, I had never went to Lord's as much as I lived in walking distance and never went there. But we'll talk about this on our pod next week called "Would You Rather."
Would you rather live in Knightsbridge
would you rather
or
live
Chelsea?
Yeah, the answer is both.
So if this is everybody's final thoughts, then because I was going to go around. What's that, Ryan?
I didn't have my final thought.
This all started because I asked Gary where he was from, basically.
Yeah.
So let's go back to
Gary.
The only thing I will say is I think we start with the exact same 11 as we did against Burnley, but I say 50th minute, maybe even halftime. It's fine. You bring Partey on. You bring on Martinelli for Pepe, but you put Willian on the right, Martinelli on the left. You keep Lacazette up top, and then you probably switch Lacazette for Aubameyang somewhere as a third sub. And I think that's what you got to do. And I think, we beat Burnley, and we I guess check off the test a little bit. I'm not. It's tough because I think Burnley is someone that we shouldn't look over, and I know you guys have all said that we shouldn't look over Burnley, but it scares me because this is the type of game where, it's the hope that kills you comes into play. And this is the game where we'll get beat up, thrown around the field a little bit, and we'll lose 1-0. But I have faith in these boys. And I think that, with this great game that we played against Leicester, I think we're gonna come out on top and we're going to show Olympiacos, what's up. And I think they ain't nothing. They ain't shit. And I think we're going to do good. And, 4 wins for the Gooners right now. Ready? So yeah, Olympiacos twice.
What you're saying is the Gooners are going to pull up their big boy pants. Is what you're saying. Basically.
I mean, because I think at this point the pants are already pulled up. So now you're just adding belts. You want your emo studded belt. You want your business as usual belt. You got like your.
God, I remember when I used to be able to wear a belt. Oh, those were the days. God.
Also, are you pulling your pants up Tierney style or Bellerin? Because if it's Tierney, I'm all in on what you're saying, mate. If it's Bellerin, okay, all right, okay, good, very good.
Ryan, are you? That's a good question. Are you pulling them up Tierney style? Or are you pulling them up?
I always pull up Tierney style. Bellerin is not someone. Which here we go. My fucking dad's coming into the chat here. Here we go. Yeah, guess what, fuckboy? I learned from you, so you need to calm down. No, but I don't even know what I was going with because my dad. I feel like I'm like pocket like Dad, not now, Dad, leave me alone, Dad. No, Tierney all day.
Is the Arse Brothers really your dad? Sorry, I'm being naive.
It's so funny you say that.
Is that Max or Scunny? That's Max.
That's definitely
hey, Max. What's going on, buddy?
Luke, I am your father.
He's like Darth Vader kind of.
If Max is your dad, that actually explains a lot.
Honestly, it's like picture Darth Vader only talking about like rhinoceros cocks and like. Oh no, Sophie, it gets way worse. Let's put. All right, let me.
You don't need to paint the picture.
We'll show on this. He nicknamed my asshole what do you name Manuel? I'm like a little drunk, so Manuel. Yeah, Manuel. He nicknamed my butthole Manuel.
Like the old
Almunia. That's why Emmanuel.
Emmanuel.
I thought you meant Emmanuel, like those erotic old school movies.
From
Manuel,
Skinamax.
because I let everybody in like Almunia. No big deal.
Wow.
I was in the back of a limo with Carrie Fisher. We'll save that story for another.
Let's get this back on track by bringing it around to me. Because this is my turn next.
Enough of you. Enough of me. Yeah. What do you think of me?
I'm actually going to dish out a couple compliments here. First of all, Ryan, always great to pod with you. You look much more handsome than you did the last time I saw you.
I know. It's I don't have headphones on. I have like little.
I was telling him in the private chat. I was like the hair that he used to have and the hat that like it just looked like you had a mane around your head. Like it looked like your head was being like inside of like a Fruit Loop or something like that of hair. But and Gary, it's a pleasure. You're a class gentleman. Thank you for saying hi to me 91 times in the chat.
I don't do that.
All of my multiple personalities you said hello to today. Tanner, you've been grafting lately. You've been putting in the work. It shows. It's awesome. I love, I every time you go on air, and you know this because basically I ask you. I'm like, I want to be on the panel. It killed me at 5:30 in the morning on Sunday, actually not being in that show. But I was like, you know what? I think I'll just let the people that he wants to be on the show, and not ask. But great stuff. And Soph, I saved you for last because Sophie is revolutionizing podcasting right now. The Highbury Squad, which is just driven by Sophie's hard work, is putting out regular, amazing, incredible, unique, thought-provoking content, and I love that there's. I mean, we will never have this, but I love that there's squaddies. You've actually you've got like it's like who was it? What's the name of that Mariah Carey had like all of her lambs or whatever. Like she has a fan group with a name.
Believers, Justin Bieber, Believers.
Yeah.
Oh
I mean, the Gooners podcast will never have that unless people just start calling themselves jackasses or something like that. But like. What you're doing right now is phenomenal, and I love every time that I could be a part of it, whether I'm in the chat or in the pod itself, and I'm looking forward to doing more stuff like our Would You Rather show next week, where we'll be getting this panel back together, but in the style of Highbury Squad and the Bearded Gooner channel. We're doing just a blitz of shows in March. Last couple of nights, we've had some unique shows, maybe a little off the beaten path of talking to some people we might not necessarily be in the same mindset as over the last 2 days. Check out our YouTube channel on goonersubscribe.com and check out the shows we've done the last 2 nights. A little bit interesting interviews. Next 2 nights, we're doing a football phrase FA Cup, basically 64 of the top phrases that I would normally ring a bell for, like sixes and sevens, diabolical, all that stuff. We're basically going to have a panel of 4 people plus the chat picking winners and getting through to the ultimate winner of the FA Cup. And then Thursday's just a boring old preview of Burnley with Andy and Owen and I, the old crew back together again, But we're inspired by the work that you guys are doing, and I have some free time on my hands this month, so hopefully you'll find imitation is the greatest form of flattery, and it's an honor to be on the panel with all you guys. Enjoyed it.
It was our pleasure, man.
Very well put. Very nice.
I can't wait to pick which of the following games we're going to win and which ones we're okay losing.
Oh, shut up! Get out of here. Here's the academy speech playing. Get him off the stage. Get him off the stage.
And Giannis is right, Tanner. Giannis is right. There's no excuse that we haven't done. How dumb are we for loving WWE podcast that turns into something else? That needs to happen pretty soon.
Oh my god!
I mean, it could happen.
It's stupid. It's dumb, but I would love to talk about it.
So I saw something, Arsenal fan circle, and this is Ray, and I will say this: I got to shout out Ray because without Ray, I don't meet Ryan, I don't meet Stan, I don't meet Rowan. I'm probably not in this as thick as what I am at this point. Ray's kind of the godfather of my podcasting career, if you will. But he says, Tony, our podcast outro starts with welcome. And on that note, the next time we get this panel back together again for a show, I'm going to say, welcome everybody to the show. That's all the time we have. We're going to start our goodbye now. So final thoughts are going to be the first thing we stick with.
That way you'll keep it to an hour and a half. It'll be perfect.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So
very clever.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you guys all. Gary, thanks for coming on tonight. Really appreciate it, man. It's about time we've gotten you in here. Brian, piss off. Mike.
Yeah. That was nice. That was actually nice considering what you normally say to me. So take it.
You're on vacation. I want to keep you in a good mood for Megan. So no. Mike, thanks for coming on, man. Nice. It's always a pleasure to have you on, brother. So, and Sophie, thank you so much. Seriously, I apologize for Ryan if I did try to tell him to rein it in, but
No, I love it.
I thought with Megan in the background, he might keep a lid on it, but apparently not. She's encouraging his poor behavior. So
I would have preferred if Megan was in the background.
as he sips. No, thanks you guys. It was a lot of fun. It's nice. It was very relaxed, and it's kind of like what we like to say on our pod. It's just like being down the pub with your mates, and that's what it felt like tonight. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Everybody in the chat, thank you guys all so much. We really appreciate you. I will be Ryan. Do you want to shout out the Arse Brothers?
Yeah, I mean,
coming up on Arse Bros real quick.
Check out the Arse Bros. I mean, barring any crazy vacation things that we're going to be doing, which we're doing all week, but I should be on the Arse Bros. The Friday Arse Show with Mike Scunney, where we preview the Burnley game. I think that's 4:00 my time, so I think it's 9 p.m. UK time. And yeah, just we're trying to bang out like 3 shows, literally bang out 3 shows a week, and it's great. It's all and to what everyone said, this is a fun one, and it's always fun podcasting with everybody. And to Sophie, podcasting with you for the first time, always, it's a pleasure. And it's the chat too. The chat box killed it. You guys are awesome, and thank you for putting up with my shenanigans.
Ryan, I'm reaching out to Scunny, and I'm asking if I can come on the podcast Friday.
Yeah. Listen, let me know. I can get. I have an in. I'm one of the brothers.
I actually
I know a guy. I know a guy.
I know a guy. Let me know. But check us out. I mean, if you like cursing, and again talking about like rhinoceros cocks but yet still be analytical about Arsenal Football Club.
My Buddha back.
Arse Bros is for you. but Arse Bros is definitely for you. So definitely.
Would you rather on Arse Bros, or would you rather play Tottenham in the final? I mean,
I promise it's a roller coaster of emotion. But yet you'll somehow get smarter about Arsenal, and then like the anatomy of like
dumber
animals at a zoo.
No, maybe, but I'm not really fond of cocks.
You'll
Fair point. Hey, listen, to be fair, I said anatomy. I didn't say cocks. I said anatomy.
Sophie, there are so many levels to that statement. That's why it's so funny. That's why it's so funny.
First half of the pod is Arsenal. Second half, fallopian tubes, just constant.
So do you want to shout out? I mean, I know everybody knows Highbury Squad. You guys are killing it, but do you want to shout out the next show for everybody real quick?
Yeah, we're on tomorrow night. We're going to do our current Arsenal best 11 tomorrow night, so tune in for that. We just did a show today with Kevin Says. He had 3 great questions about whether Arteta rates Martinelli, if Arteta has finally got the team ticking, and then he asked the question about Willian and Pepe and if they're a duo that we should maybe go with for the next few games. So you guys brought up a really good point. So you can check that out. We recorded it today. And then we've got our fan forum on Friday where everyone, our show is really voice of the fan for every fan. And that's kind of how we run it and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you so much, you guys. It's been a lot of fun talking to you guys tonight.
It's a pleasure being on the stage with you, Sophie.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. Likewise, I feel the same way, and I'm just really happy to be part of the Arsenal podcast community. Really, just thank you so much.
Gary, you've got your channel as well, building that up. Go ahead, shout it out real quick.
So DWTT on YouTube. Right now I just got a segment right after the game's called My 5, where I just pick out 5 players, usually randomly or kind of how I'm feeling. So check it out right after the game.
Check it out, mate. Definitely.
Gary's never done in his life. He's never wasted a tweet.
Oh,
hey!
Thank you, there.
I'm waiting for the first time, and I'm gonna
Mike, I'm gonna regret asking this question. I know that, but did you tell everybody what's
another half hour, Tanner? Be careful. Be
very
careful.
What I tell you at the beginning when I introduced him, he talked so much he's going to give the eulogy at his own funeral.
Should I take a sip while you ask this question in case I end up?
Yes, you should. What's the next show coming up on the Gooners Pod? Tell the people about it.
I actually did mention this earlier. We're doing a
last hour.
If you've just joined the chat in the last 20 hours since we started the pod, we're doing a Football Phrases FA Cup tomorrow night. Danny the GFP from Burkent Wonderland, Danny Potts.
I love Danny.
Owen and myself, and then the chat. Basically, a staff of 5 people. The chat room being the tie-breaking vote. Will be ushering 64 football phrases through the FA Cup until we ultimately have a champion crowned. So that'll be at 9 o'clock UK time. Probably take almost as long as this pod has, about 2 hours. It'll be fun. We did this last season with Lee Judges and Super Kev, and it was brilliant. So we got some new phrases in there. Got some of the old ones in there. If you like Arsenal-based, football-based podcasts that aren't like too heavy, this will be the perfect one for you. And it's right after the Highbury Squad. So
you've got a full day. That's a full day.
You do.
That's it for us, everybody. We're going to get out of here.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. Right. I started this a half hour ago. Literally a half hour ago, I started this. So
I have a question. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Would you rather? That's all we got.
Paper cuts, or
thanks for tuning in.
Sophie time. It's so true, Matthew.
Sophie time is contagious, my friend.
Yes. Good footy talk, everybody. We'll see you out there.